great.
Yeah.
It's happening. And
Okay.
I pay. It might be the paid versus free. I don't know what version you have. It doesn't matter at this point. But
I do have the paid version, so I don't understand. But anyway, we're recording now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Daria, go ahead.
So I was really curious to learn from Allison how that works. What does it mean? What happens when women become visible and do it in a very confident way in their own, with their personal style, and obviously also for yourself? How do you become visible to follow your dreams? So this was my question, and I'm very curious and excited to be learning from you today.
Oh, thank you, Daria. So I've been thinking a lot about this question, especially as it relates to COVID times, where we're actually mostly visible on Zoom and then within our families or just in our neighborhood, right? And with ourselves. And I think that's the piece that really resonates the most for me when I do this work with my clients. It's about recognizing who you want to be and who you are right now for yourself, because it all has to do with that conversation that you're having with yourself. I go back to all the time this idea of growth mindset, and I cite this quote from the author and discoverer of growth mindset, Carol Dweck, who says 40% of your happiness has to do with your self-image and the corresponding actions that you take. So when you think about how you think about yourself and what kind of actions those thoughts determine, that's the crux of visibility. So if you're willing to see the amazing things that you have within and show them to the world, we need those gifts now more than ever, right? And so the idea of personal style then it's a way to prime that conversation that you're having with yourself every single day. And that is true in COVID times, and it's true in whenever it is that the world is going to open up again. So what you're putting on, like when I put on this shiny jacket, I feel like $1 million. When I put on, these leopard heels that I'm wearing that you can't even see, I feel kick-ass. And so, when I'm walking around my house here in COVID times, my kids are like, "Oh, Mom, what's going on today?" And they give me compliments, and that feeds that loop of positivity back, so that no matter how I woke up this morning, I am now super excited to be here with you, because I'm reminding myself of my shine. I'm reminding myself how kick-ass I am. And I'm reminding myself, and therefore everyone I see, of my gifts and what I can offer the world. Does that answer that question, Daria?
I love that. That's beautiful, to remind yourself of who you are.
Yeah.
I think about who we truly are. And
Yeah.
when we find that, it opens up a lot of doors. Yeah.
And it's like that Marianne Williamson quote, and now I'm going to forget it. What is it? Who are you not to shine your light? Is that what it is? And anyone who can quote it for me can feel free to chime in here. But the idea is that
I'll just do it in the chat.
Yeah, no, go for it.
It's not that we're afraid. Oh, geez, now I'm going to do it. We're afraid that we are more powerful. I said it in a speech years ago, and now I can't remember it. Stage fright.
Yeah.
We're more afraid of how powerful we really are. And I'm
right.
doing the shortcut version, but I think that's the one you mean, right?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. And I think about this all the time with going for that next level. And Rosie, I'm going to mute one of you because now we're having an echo.
I think sorry.
No, it's okay.
I
I was experimenting at it.
This idea of going for the next level, whatever it is, it's scary. And you get that little tingle in your body and you're like, oh, can I do it? And part of that is it's your inner critic telling you, you know, oh my God, what are you doing? You're about to take a big leap and that's terrifying. And what if we fail? Right? But then what the personal style does, what that priming does, what wearing this jacket does for me is it reminds me that even if I fail, I'm still me. So I can take that leap and I can say, yeah, okay, little battling Baron, I understand where you're coming from. And I know you're trying to keep me safe, but that feeling of excitement and fear is also my signal that I'm on the right path. And I have to remind myself of this just as much as everyone else. But my dream is that when we can finally leave our houses, right, we can each of us walk out the door feeling as kick-ass as I feel right now every single day. And then I think, and just imagine, what does that do to the world if as we're sitting in our Zoom rooms, we feel that good? And as we're going out and taking our walks, we feel that good every single day. And it doesn't matter how you woke up because you can change the conversation just in what you're putting on. What do you think, Daria?
Beautiful.
All right, so Rosie had a follow-on question. And Susan gave us the actual quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And she asks, actually, who are you not to be? Oh, I love that quote. Okay, so Rosie, you had a follow-on question to Daria's question.
Well, it's so interesting just to build on your quote for a second, because now the more we're talking, I realize why it feels like we've known each other for so long is because we have so many similar ideas and things we like, including, I love that quote. One of the reasons I ended up calling my company Inner Brilliance Coaching was to help people bring out their light. And the program I have is Be Perfectly You, and not in a way of, being perfect. But I know some of us high achievers like myself, I call myself a recovering perfectionist. So I need it more, right?
Yep.
It still shows up. It might have shown up today in me for a little bit, right? And I bring that up because I know that I mean from a place of acceptance of all of who I am and who others are and what's happening in the world. I know this sort of tech difficulty would have thrown me in a tizzy, years ago. And now I'm just like, okay, not that I wasn't a little stressed, but okay, just remember everything's okay. I'm okay. Allison's not going to be mad that I'm not on here just yet.
No.
Meg was helping me, so that was helpful too. So anyway, I just love that quote. I love that idea of reminding yourself who you are best. And then that's just a beautiful way to do it, a visual cue to help you connect with you at your best. And I love the language you use because I hear all the tools, we use probably similar tools like of staying connected to your best self and maybe shutting down the inner critic. So building on that, I love what just Mary said. Technology invites us to self-compassion. Yes. I mean, I must be the most self-compassionate person in the world because of my tech stuff. But so my question, building on that, is, I've shared with you, Allison, and some of you who've been connected to me before on these other calls. I have this, I think we all have the feminine and masculine side to us, right? Like they're within us. And I know when I'm feeling my best is when I can integrate both sides. But if I'm really being honest, I think when it comes to fashion and styling, I have the two sides show up. And there's the one who knows, like, putting something beautiful on makes me feel so good, so connected to my best self. And then there's that practical side of me who's like, but Rosie, let's be mindful of how much time, energy, and money you're putting into your wardrobe.
Yep.
And then I get a little bit more specific, like I've been joking with other people and you about, I think I have like 2 speeds, like workout clothes and speaking engagement dresses. Like that's it. And certainly there's some stuff in between, but it's more out of like utility versus I'm excited to put that on. So I'm curious, is there a way just to tap into, again, I know feeling beautiful and putting on beautiful clothes is awesome, but is there a way to kind of think of how do I allocate funds, resources, energy into my casual wear versus my work wear? Especially, and maybe it's a different answer for now versus, you know, post-COVID, but I was just curious.
No, it's not a different answer. It's 100% the same. And I love that you asked the practical question, because I think this is one of the things that I really double down on with my clients, because for me, it's important that every element of your wardrobe makes you feel good and makes you look good. But it doesn't have to be that perfection that you were referring to. Like when you see, you know, these Instagram stars and everything looks so, and style people love to say effortless. That's such a bunch of bullshit. You know, I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone with my language, but it is just, it's not effortless, A. And B, you know, what you see as this perfection is just, I look at it and I just think it looks exhausting. You know, so there's a way to make this easy and doable and practical and sustainable, both for your wallet and for the planet. That is the middle ground. And unfortunately, the fashion world has held up this perfection as the only thing. And so what it does to the rest of us who don't feel like spending a half an hour getting dressed every morning, including myself, just think, oh my God, I can't. And I think in COVID times, we're seeing that even more, where people are, you know, putting a shirt on and then wearing their sweatpants on bottom. And you even saw it on Good Morning America, right? Yeah, the guy was like in his boxer shorts, you know, and the camera could see it. And so there has to be a way for us to be comfortable and feel good and feel stylish at the same time. And the way I help my clients do that is to figure out what is comfortable and appropriate to their particular lives. So, for example, you know, a lot of fashion people will say you have to have a trench coat. Okay. But that works in New York and in Paris, where the weather lends itself to a trench coat. But like, if you live in Texas, do you really need a trench coat? If you're a farmer, do you I mean, that's ridiculous. No one needs these items, these must-have items, or like a black pencil skirt. You don't need a black pencil skirt, you know, if you're working on an oil rig. Like, it's just ridiculous. And it's exclusive. And so what I like to ask my clients is, what do you need in your day-to-day? You know, so for example, now maybe it is like Daria's wearing like a lovely loose tunic top, or you're wearing like a lovely knit, you know, that's comfortable and feels good, that's in a color that reminds you you're both wearing pink. That's joy, that's love, that's compassion, that's fun. Those are all the meanings of that color. You know, I'm not wearing this day to day. I wore it today because it felt fun, but you know, I'm wearing things that are comfortable, jeans with stretch, you know, slippers, frankly. And when I go outside, I'm putting my sneakers on because I'm going for a walk, you know, but they're cute sneakers and they're fun sneakers. And so there's a way for this to be accessible and doable, both from a wallet perspective and just from like feeling like it's not so much of a chore perspective, you know, that intersects so that it feels good to get dressed this way. Does that help?
It really does. First of all, I feel like it gives us some permission because of what you were saying around like the fashion world and Instagram world and all that. And I'll be honest, I'm even applying it to, as I was listening to you, I do photo shoots for my business every 3 months to put on it, frankly, on Instagram and all that. And I used to be in marketing and advertising, so I joke it's a little bit hard for me to not think of it from a, my business from a branding perspective, but I of course want to come across as authentic. So I used to prepare for these shoots and it would be a little stressful. Like I have to wear the on-trend thing and all that. And that's really not who I am. Who I am, I think you know this, Allison, my parents are from Sicily. So sort of joke that they have this, their Italian lifestyle is Italians like to look nice, but they're also immigrants. So guess what? They spent money on certain pieces and of course they wanted to be comfortable, but they always look nice. So I feel like what you shared was just such simple truth. And I really appreciated too how you brought up the idea of like what's good for our planet, because a similar thing growing up was you don't buy a ton of clothes. You're not, and this is just how we grew up. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but now we're seeing how that's impacting the planet. And I'm so grateful. I buy I call it classic pieces with a twist, just something like my top is just, it has a little side thing. So I like that, but otherwise it's pretty basic. And I feel like I keep it for a while and use it again. And so that's where I guess the practical comes in. It's like something I love and I feel good in, and I could wear it for a while. And so what you're sharing is really helping me think about that. And I have to say, I feel like now when it comes to getting dressed just for day to day, I do want to feel good, even if it's, I joke, my nicest pair of Lululemon's workout clothes. Like, it makes a difference. And then even for a photo shoot, I'll just think about like, okay, what's Rosie really going to wear and feel good in and not worry about everything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that idea of sort of going back to the old world kind of European aesthetic in terms of getting dressed. And of course, Europeans have fast fashion right now too. They started it. I mean, Zara is a Swedish company. And H&M is a Scandinavian company. So, this idea of having so much is something that I think during COVID times we're realizing is, there's a value to pulling back. There is something that people are finding in this being at home. There's a grace in having more. Well, those of us who are parents don't have more time, but losing that commute time, losing that time that you're spent ferrying your kids to and fro or going to your exercise class or whatever. There's funds that come back from that. You're not spending your money on going out for drinks or going out for dinner because you can't. And it's sort of this retraction that actually provides abundance. And I think that's the way I think about clothing as well.
That's a great point, Allison, to think of it that way. Because I noticed obviously I'm not going out as much, like you said, and a networking event doesn't cost the same now as it did before. So kind of thinking of abundance, I love thinking that way of seeing, sometimes you get attached to what something looks like, right? And abundance looks like I'm bringing money in or riches of other sorts, but it could just be a shift of something already happening in your life.
Yeah. Mary, go ahead.
So I love that you brought up fast fashion, and I love that Rosie brought up that really like European idea of just like have really high quality, like slim down, minimal wardrobe. And I have that. Like I feel like I have that. But I still get that itch for like those more like modern or like fun, colorful pieces. Like my wardrobe is basically like white, black, blue, gray. And how do you refresh without buying things that are going to end up in a landfill?
Well, I think it's all about, well, first of all, thank you for that question. And and I think that it's okay to have sort of, you know, your standards that you love and those colors that you love, black, gray. You can also invest in colors that are brighter or warmer. You know, you can create a wardrobe around colors that are meaningful for you. So when you think about, you know, what are the adjectives that you want people to think when they see you? Gray is intelligence, black is intensity or business, white is fresh starts. I mean, what are the other adjectives that you'd like for people to think?
Confidence.
Okay. So that would be red.
Okay.
So you can start thinking about investing in those feelings and thinking about color as a feeling that you evoke in both yourself and in others.
Okay.
And I do think that, you know, once you've sort of built that capsule wardrobe, you can feel easier about buying pieces that are pops of color, whether it's a jacket or a cardigan, but you can also do it with accessories, you know, that maybe are at a lower price point. So it's not throwaway, where like an H&M piece might last, you know, 2 or 3 wears, but it's, you know, you can, I mean, Everlane is not a high price point.
Right.
So you can, you know, when you think about what you really love to wear, you may find that buying a pair of trousers that are red gives you that, you know, kick in the pants, and it becomes a classic for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I'd love to turn it over to questions. We're at 11:11, so everybody kiss the clock.
Jump in, Allison.
And feel free to ask your questions. Go ahead, Meg.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give just a brief little background. I made the decision late last fall to stop coloring my hair, and it was I'm 41.
I was wondering about that. It looks awesome.
Well, it's a little
love it.
lighting, right? Whatever. And I do love it, and it's a journey, right? And now COVID, like everybody's got gray hair and they're not happy about it, but mine was a choice, right? So it's been a very different experience for me. And all of the feelings that I thought that I would have, you know, shame, hiding it, explaining it, defending it, none of that has materialized. And I didn't intend to create a different experience for myself, but I just didn't invite all of that feedback. It wasn't up for discussion. It just is happening. And so you can either say nice things or say nothing at all. Anyway, this period that we're in, partly I think because of the transition of my hair color, but also this working from home, this always being on Zoom calls all day long. I right now have zero makeup on. I don't even have proper foundation garments on. I'll leave it at that because this is those that knew me pre this period and probably pre the hair color thing, that you never would have seen me out in the universe with makeup, and you know, like that just wouldn't have happened. And I'll tell you, I'm really enjoying it. And it's making me, as I look at what's in my closet, to bring this back to kind of fashion and the outward experience that we put out there, I'm choosing the same 6 pieces from my closet, even though I have plenty more things to choose from right now. And I'm not feeling super excited, frankly, to like squeeze my toes back into those heels when this is over. And
and I just want to jump in here because it's saying that we have 1:30 left, which I don't really understand because I have a paid account. Ooh. And I actually switched Meg to host just in case. I don't know what's going on, but I just want to answer you really quickly just in case we get kicked off.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
I don't, to me, being prepared and feeling good is about feeling good, bottom line. So if you're feeling good right now and this feels kick-ass to you, I say go with it, you know? And like, maybe this is a permission for you to step out of those heels, literally, and step into something else that's more relaxed and more comfortable for you. you know, and maybe you'll find your way to something that's a little bit more dressed up. Who knows when the world opens up again, but maybe not. Maybe this is the moment where we say, you know what, we're sick of having to put all of this labor into getting dressed, and we're only going to do it if it feels good. What kind of freedom would we have as, you know, as women if that were the case? If we get to make a choice about wearing heels and a dress instead of feeling the should.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you brought that up. And it looks like I've got 13 seconds left. So I just want to say, crossing fingers we don't get cut off. But if that's how we end, I love that.